Hey man, what's up? Come on in.
Not much. Hey, there was this big package at your doorstep. Here.
I wonder what this is.
Did you order something from Amazon?
Not recently. Oh, it's from Corona's Chicken.
Corona? From the Kingdom of Corona? Like, who are you in contact with, man?
Ha ha, very funny. Remember that fried chicken restaurant we ate at last year at the way station on the way to record that episode of the Retro Rewind podcast?
Yeah, you mean the one when we saw Kung Fu Hustle?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, but man, that was some good chicken.
Well, I stopped there on the way to do Retro's episode on Homeward Bound back during Snowpocalypse.
Yeah, why didn't you invite me along for that one? You know I am a lover of the canine type.
There was only one seat available on the pod, and you were playing host to your store manager at the time, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Anyway, I entered a raffle while I was there, and apparently I won something.
Really? That was nearly a year ago, right?
Yeah, I thought I would have heard something before now, too. It was a grab bag, so I don't even know what I was supposed to... I didn't even know what I was supposed to win.
What is that?
No idea. There's another box inside, but there's nothing written on it. The invoice just says D33D117.
Well, that's an odd-looking thing.
Yeah. I wonder what this thing is made out of. It doesn't look like plastic, but it kind of feels like it. Must be a vinyl figure of some kind, but I have no idea what it's a figure of. Any idea?
Man, my expertise is in action figures. This, I have no idea.
Well, I guess I'll have to figure it out later. We got a show to record. Ready to jump into what is sure to be a prodigious episode?
Yeah, let's kick that digipig.
Cartoons. The animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission: to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a very prodigious person. Welcome, Jacob.
Yeah, anyways. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who's wondering why he's being chased by an enormous red beetle. Welcome, Drew.
See, I was under the impression that the extremely dangerous animals were in Australia, not Japan.
Yeah, well, they have a potential of popping up everywhere through a digital port.
Maybe not. Before we jump too far into this, trivia time for last week's episode.
Yes.
The question was, I can get that to go down. What English voice actor came out of retirement for Digimon Adventure Tri? Do you know the answer, Jacob?
Yes, I do, but I want our audience to figure that out
Well,
first.
I mean, I already have an answer from the audience.
Yeah.
So,
Josh Seth.
yes. Josh Adams was the only person to answer this week.
Really?
And, of course, Joshua Seth is the voice of Ty.
Yeah.
He had retired before this point.
Yeah.
So,
I'm curious, but how long was he retired prior to that?
give me a minute. I will look. Okay, so 2007 to 2015.
Oh, okay.
And he has done like two things after these six. One of them being Digimon Last Evolution Kizuna.
Kizuna, yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah, and then something called Busted.
Oh, okay.
Where he played himself.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
That answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Anyway, Jacob, how are you doing this fine Christmas week?
Doing pretty good. Busy, like usual, drawing, working. Trying to find gifts for family. There again, I have
still shopping.
We're doing stockings this year, and there again, most of my family's on a keto diet or a low carb diet or something like that. So you can't do candies or anything.
A diet where you can't have joy because of the food.
Pretty much, but be like family members who have lost a ton of weight, do that. So it's on for them.
If it works, it works.
It works.
Me,
So
I like food.
that is understandable. So yeah, I've been racking my brain trying to find just these little things that sound really, really cool for stocking servers for a different type of stocking. But other than that, I'm doing very well.
Is it a shoe instead of a sock?
It's a sock. Mm-hmm. It's a very large sock.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing shoes. That'd be stinky.
I'm just double checking. You said it was a different kind of stocking. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's either something that's not a sock. Maybe it's a silk stocking.
That will get too weird too fast.
Especially with Jim. I'm sorry. It's the only one I know how to pick on.
Right. All right. So yeah, my week's been pretty good. What about yours?
It's been all right. Had a nice, slow weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too dramatic happened.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to my 4-day weekend coming up.
Lucky.
And I got 2 4-day weekends in a row.
Oh, fun.
One for Christmas, one for New Year's.
Nice.
The only problem is, when I looked at the calendar originally, I thought it was Thursday, Friday on both of them that I was having off. It's actually Friday, Monday, because they changed it sometime in the last 2 months, and I didn't know it.
Oh, fun.
Because I didn't get the email, and I didn't think to look at the sheet when they posted it, because I just thought, oh, it's the same holiday sheet I had last time.
Oh, fun.
So that's more on me, admittedly, but you know.
Yeah, I don't get the 3-day weekend because Christmas this year falling on Saturday. I'm off Saturday, so I get my natural 2 days off.
Aww.
Yeah. So it's not I get off, it's off Friday. You get a 3-day weekend, which would have been amazing, but it didn't happen this way. Maybe next year. I don't know when this falls this next year.
Well, probably a Sunday.
Probably.
Because I don't think this is a leap year. Otherwise, we'd have to get ready to go vote again.
Yeah.
Not getting into politics.
Anywho.
So Jacob,
no, it's on a Friday next year.
It went backwards?
Yeah, it went backwards. So next year, Christmas will be on a Friday.
I disbelieve you, but I need to look for myself.
Hold on, that said November. Never mind. I looked at it wrong.
I said that. I think.
Darn it! You're right. You are completely right. You are completely.
It usually moves forward a day.
Yeah, I was looking at November 2020.
It goes forward 2 days.
Yeah, so I was looking at November 2020 instead of December 2020, which falls on a Sunday. Fun.
But you're off on Sundays too.
Yes, I'm off on Sundays.
You don't get anything.
Snarf.
I've been where you are, my friend.
Yes. All right.
Unfortunately, you don't get to stay until lockup and watch and get to kick everybody out of the store.
No.
I enjoyed kicking people out of the store.
I've been there, done that.
Yes, Josh, he meant 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
You notice I don't correct him at this point. I just let him say what he wants. Unless he says Warner Brothers when he means Walt Disney again.
I've gotten better at that.
Yes, you have.
I've gotten a lot better.
Doesn't mean I don't still listen for it. Anyway, Jacob.
All right.
What have you been watching besides Digimon?
Digimon, yes. I watched a certain movie that came out this last week on Friday. Mm-hmm. Maybe related to the poster in the back and the toy in front. Also known as Spider-Man No Way Home.
Indeed. So did I.
Oh my gosh.
That's a fun movie.
That is a fun, very good movie.
I don't want to talk too much about it because if you have any interest in watching Spider-Man,
go watch it.
Go watch it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Even if you just want to see how bad could this possibly be, how pandering could it possibly be,
right?
Go watch it. Find out for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Don't learn from the internet memes or anything like that because it's the internet.
Don't be like my mom, who got spoiled on The Mandalorian because it took her a year to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of which,
I have not watched all of Mandalorian season 2.
doing my best not to spoil a moment that my mom got spoiled. You probably already know about it.
I probably do.
But I'm not going to touch on it because I don't want to even get close.
Got it. I know about the scene. I don't know the context leading up to it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. Anyways.
So yes, I watched Spider-Man No Way Home on Friday night. Had an amazing time. Other than that, Sunday we did a Bible study and we watched another episode or two of Blackadder,
and then Robin Hood,
of course, which was
the one we reviewed.
Yeah, the one we already reviewed. So go check that.
He's the fat one.
Exactly. But yeah, that is all I've been watching, and wow, and a lot of YouTube. Yeah, a lot of YouTube. What about you, Drew?
I can tell you precisely what I watched because it's all written down here once I bring it up. So, as always, I watched Hawkeye last week.
Yeah.
I watched Star Trek Discovery, the newest episode of both of those shows.
Right.
This afternoon, I watched a little movie called Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Huh.
Which introduced Jet Jaguar, the giant robot.
Jet Jaguar?
Yes.
What is a Jet Jaguar? Is it a Jaguar that's...
I will show you a picture. If I can hit the right buttons on here. Okay, so you get see Godzilla's doing something, but the guy holding on to Megalon. Silver dude.
The silver dude? Oh, okay.
It's a robot.
It's a robot.
It's a giant robot. He's also the hero of Godzilla Singular Point, if y'all want to watch that anime.
Oh, okay.
No, Josh, I do not mean Ultraman. I mean Jet Jaguar. Because he's the one who fought with Godzilla.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This is actually the only movie he appeared in until Godzilla Singular Point, if I remember correctly. But that was interesting. I watched another episode of Comey Can't Communicate because she is just so cute when she can't talk. I don't know a better way to explain it other than that, but the way they draw her when she's going through her anxiety.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, oh, I want to help you so bad, but you're so adorable at the same time. Also, I hate the person they tried to make she became friends with this week. Anyway. And then because of certain things I don't want to discuss, I realized I was actually behind on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'd been behind for 5 years.
Really?
Because I did not watch any of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Right, yeah.
And because of two things I don't want to discuss, but there are two reasons why this became apparent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you know probably both of them are, probably, but yeah, that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched season 1, episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Daredevil.
I've seen a few episodes of that series. It's really good.
Yeah, I think I know why you're probably taking as long for the same reason I am. Because there's some of those scenes where it's just like, can I fast forward, please? Good night, Almighty. That's a bone.
Yep, pretty much.
It's like, yeah.
Well,
good night. If it's this bad, I hate to see what Punisher's going to be like. I know he's in there.
Well, it is Frank Castle.
But I still hate to see what Punisher's going to be like. Hey, don't get me wrong. I understand Daredevil does torture people to get information.
Yeah, he's a street level superhero.
But and I did see something in the Daredevil episode. I think it was episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
That I think there was a nice callback to.
Oh, yeah.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it now.
Right.
Maybe in a special Patreon episode.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So I did that. I also, of course, played some Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
Because I'm still working through the main story on that. The story Wednesday night when I played it stabbed me in the heart and asked if I wanted more. To which I said, no, I have to go to sleep after watching that. Thanks a lot. It was one of those where after the scene ended, it's like, why does my heart hurt? I don't have a heart. It's not a heart attack. It's not that kind of pain. This is like, ow. And this is not going away. I was emotionally drained.
Oh, been there.
After watching this particular scene. Not telling you what scene it is, because I don't want to spoil it for people, because that game that expansion just came out. But it was like, yeah, y'all have gotten really good at this storytelling thing, which is saying something when you go back to the original, when you go back to the base game. It's like, some of this is kind of awkward in the terms of the writing and the acting. But it gets really good. I've made it to the moon finally.
Oh, good.
And I met a bunch of rabbits.
Of course.
But they weren't making rice balls.
Oh, okay.
They had never actually seen what one of the funniest moments is when they because what they're doing is they're essentially building an escape craft. I'm not going to tell you how they're doing that.
Okay.
But they're making it for all the people on the planet. The thing is, they've never seen the people on the planet before. They don't know anything about the culture. All they know is they assume they base everything off of this person that was up there called the Watcher, who I'm not going to tell you who that is, but let's suffice it to say he's 12 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
And they realize, oh, you're not children? Bear in mind, my character is like 5'6", about as tall as we are.
Yeah.
It says, oh, you're not children. Holy crap, your entire race is this short. Hey, guy who works on construction, I need you to go into the residential areas and shorten everything by about a third. Yes, I mean everything right now. We don't have time to waste. The planet's going to be destroyed in about... it's going to be destroyed soon. You don't have much time. Because now we can fit more people on this. Because they built it for people 12 feet tall. So it was like, 12 plus 4 feet? So it's like, yeah, I bet you could fit a few more people if you lowered that by about a third.
Pretty much.
You can get at least a whole nother deck out there.
Okay.
Josh, I don't know what Dragon Ball reference I made.
A Dragon Ball reference?
It says I made a Dragon Ball reference. I didn't make a Dragon Ball reference.
What are you talking about, Josh?
If I've made a reference, it was a Sailor Moon reference.
I thought he was
long drawn out one, but it was a Sailor Moon reference.
I thought he was talking about Bill. I was like, okay, over like the movie review, Over the Moon.
Okay, Josh, you don't know this, do you? See, the thing you're referring to, the bunnies making rice balls on the moon, that is not something Dragon Ball made up. That comes from ancient Japanese folklore.
It does.
It's the same reason why Sailor Moon, her Japanese human name, Usagi Tsukino, means rabbit on the moon, because it comes from that folklore, since she's Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think Usagi Yojimbo comes from that too, for a more Western reference.
Huh. That makes sense.
think. Do not quote me on that.
And also think about the movie we reviewed last year of Over the Moon.
Yes.
On Netflix.
Same thing. So that is not a Dragon Ball thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand where you're coming from. And if that was a Dragon Ball thing, that would be a deep cut, because I don't think most people have actually read the first season. Read the first story arc.
Of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball.
Oh, Dragon Ball.
He said Dragon Ball Z. I'm saying, no, he did say Dragon Ball. I'm saying, but most people probably don't remember that. And so technically that doesn't even come from Dragon Ball. That comes from Journey to the West, because that's what that first arc is based on.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, now that I have just gone off on a ton of rabbit trails.
Pun intended.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Indeed.
So yeah, and also the fake forest made out of crystals. That was interesting. And tile floors. Instead of grass and wood, stuff to make for the park setting. They use tile.
Wow.
And crystal trees. There is at least water. That looks at least real.
Right.
Also, I like the joke. After they start rebuilding, they try to say, "Oh, you want to go see the residential district? There's a lot of good housing there, because all these MMOs have housing, so you can have your own personal house in the game for some reason." I say for some reason. I'll never afford it, so I don't know anything about it other than my FC has one. They say, "Okay, we're going to transfer you to the housing like we've done with every other major town. Have fun. Oh, it's not working. Where are you teleporting to? No! We end up on a pathway and hear a conversation we weren't supposed to overhear, but we did anyway. It's been an interesting moon trip.
That is
to
true.
say the least. And I didn't even tell you why we went to the moon.
Oh, that's
an entirely other kettle of fish.
That is true. I did forget one.
At level 34, by the way, not 34, 84, not at 90, which is what I expected. Wasn't end game.
So I did forget one thing that I did over the weekend. I did go to a family Christmas reunion. That was a lot of fun. I think I sprained my back playing with my younger cousins.
Well, that's what happens when they treat your spinal cord as a jump rope.
Yeah, I was a human jungle gym, which always I'd be like trampoline. What? Not a trampoline. Be like that. That would have been bad. But
boinky.
Exactly. I did get pinned to the floor by a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. No joke. That happened. But either way,
you had tons of fun this week.
Yeah, exactly. For the next 2 days, my back is aching. It's like, ow, it was so worth it. Ow. But yeah, I had a great time. I got to see cousins I had not seen in years, and got to catch up with a lot of people, a lot of family that I haven't seen in a while, and it was great, a lot of fun, and hoping to do it next year or earlier. Either way, so
while you're talking, why don't you go ahead and tell us the news?
All right, so in the news, the nominees for the 49th annual Annie Awards have been announced, and there is a plethora for the field of animation. So I'm going to go into the nominations, or the fields and the nominations. Yeah, it kind of gets repetitive through this, so just bear with me for a minute. All right, so special effect features to Belle, Enchantro, Ray and the Last Dragon, The Mitchells and the Machines, Vivo, Best Character Animation, Enchanto, Luca, Ray and the Last Dragon, The Boss Baby, The Family Business, Wish Dragon, a Best Character Design feature, Luca, Rhea, Wrong Gone Wrong, The Mitchells vs. Machines, and Vivo. Best Director, again, Bella, Enchanto, Flea, Luca, Mitchell vs. Machines. Best Production Design feature, Belle, Rhea, Ron Gone Wrong, The Mitchells, Vivo. And this kind of just repeats over and over and over and over and over again. The fact that
it's the same 7 movies.
It's the same 7 movies. And the fact that Ray and the Last Dragon got nominated for pretty much all of them.
Well, it deserved it. Ray and the Last Dragon is probably what I consider the best animated movie to come out this year.
Indeed.
And I say that having not seen Belle yet, because we're watching that sometime next year.
Enchanto.
I say that like it's not next month.
Yeah. So speaking of Enchanto, or not Enchanto. Encanto. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Encanto. I apologize.
No, we don't mean where the first Pokemon generation was based.
Okay. All right.
Bad pun. But anyway.
All right. Disney Plus kicks off the holiday festivities this Friday, December 24th, when the Walt Disney Animated Studios launches Enchanto on its streaming services, which has just been in theaters. So if you didn't get a chance to go watch it in theaters, it'll be on Disney Plus. So yeah, that's all I have in the news.
Okay, well then we need to get into our spoiler-free review of Digimon Adventure Tri Part 1 Reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, this was your choice.
Yes,
for this month, because it's your theme month, technically.
Yes, it is.
And your theme month spread out to be a month and a half.
It did.
Because we could get all 6 movies in one
yes.
without going into February.
Exactly.
Which we got some interesting stuff coming up in February, by the way.
We do.
Putting that out there.
So just stay tuned.
Yeah. So why are we watching Digimon Adventure Tri?
All right. So
and not Pokemon. I'm kidding.
Because Digimon is superior to Pokemon.
once again.
I know one of our fans is gonna go like, "How dare you!" But let me explain. So back in 1999, I just started high school, or roughly around that time, and I found this show called Digimon Monsters, and I was like, "Wow, okay, this is a really good story."
And he took that Digimon are the champions thing a little too literally.
So from there on, be like, I followed Digimon through the course of season 2, Tamers, Frontier, Data Squad to an extent, Fusion, which I didn't quite understand. It was not a really good season. And I'm not one of these big, enormous Digimon fan where if you walk my house, be like, it's all Digimon, which some people do that. I just enjoy it for what it is, the entertainment value. That's one of the main reasons we watched Digimon the movie for a review a couple of years ago.
Because the dubs sometimes leave something to be desired. But
that is true.
But in a funny way.
Indeed. There again, that was 3 shorts put together to make one film.
Indeed. One of which actually was like the precursor to Summer Wars.
Yeah, pretty much our own war.
Our war game.
Our war game. Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, this was a I had heard about this coming up through the grapevine, and I'd wanted to watch it for years when they were coming out with it. This took for the span of 4 years to come out, all 6 films. And I was really interested when this came out. I was like, okay, I'm going to put it on the list at some point. And
I even said we ought to do this at some point.
He did say that.
We did the first Digimon movie.
Yeah. Now, granted, there are a ton of other Digimon short films out there that hopefully we can get to covering at some point. Because there are how many Pokemon movies?
I've not actually counted them, but I know that Detective Pikachu is like 20 years after Pokemon the movie.
Right.
And I think that is real years.
Right.
And I think there's about 18 movies between them.
Right.
So plus those 2, it's 20. That's not counting the remake of Digimon Pokemon the first movie.
Yes. That was fairly interesting. But either way, be like this, my fondness for the Digimon franchise has always been there, and wanting to find out what happened after season 2. And this movie is very, it opens a lot of things up, opens up a lot of mysteries, what's going on, because it doesn't tell you immediately what's going on. And they span that on to 6 films, which is something I've never seen a film do.
Well, what this is doing is taking what would be a whole season's worth of story
and making the films
and making it into 6 films. And it's paced, at least this first movie is, because it's all I've seen so far. It's paced like a movie, but with nice little fights every little bit. In fact, strangely enough, I actually watched like half of this on Crunchyroll back in the day when it was first coming out. But it was edited into half-hour episodes. And I watched the first 3, so I'm watching this and going, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh, here's where that commercial break is. This quick little jump from the middle of the day to night makes less sense now that there's not a episode break in between. Just throwing that out there.
Right. Totally get it.
We'll get more to that in a second.
But yeah, I'd be like, there.
Good.
I highly enjoyed this film. There again, I don't know what's going on beyond this. I know a little bit because there again, I kind of followed it very little when it was coming out. And for a fan who loved season 2 and Digimon Tamers, there's a certain element they play. I think it's in movie 5 and 6. I think. Don't get me wrong. I'll be like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and you are allowed to in this instance because you are more of a Digimon expert than I am. Digimon Adventure 2 is our season 2.
Yeah, it's our season 2.
Digimon Tamers is our Digimon season 3.
Yes.
And technically we've got a Digimon season 4, which is
Frontier. Yeah.
After that, they started actually using the names of the Japanese show.
Yeah.
Because Saban and Jetix didn't have control over it anymore.
No.
Till Saban got it back with Cross Wars.
Yeah.
And now
don't get me started on Cross Wars.
They don't have that anymore either.
No, they don't. I don't even know who owns the Digimon franchise now. Or American distribution rights.
Well, outside of Shout Factory.
Yeah, pretty much. But either way, like what I was going before, I'm very interested because there's a tidbit, what I understood. I saw a clip of this and I was like, oh crap. And realizing what connections they're making. This ties back to season 2.
Good night. The first 5 minutes of this, after the intro, when they talk about the Pokemon, the Digimon we don't get to see again.
Yeah,
probably until another episode. Well, actually, I don't know if that's connected to the one they fight at the end, but
yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure it is, but not in the way I think it is.
Right.
That first scene there where they show the quick flashbacks to the 4 season 2 members that aren't in season 1.
Uh-huh.
I'm going, did they just die? Do you hate these characters so much you killed them?
Oh gosh,
I don't think they did, because while this is a Japanese kids show, it's still a kids show.
There again, we're in the spoiler-free section.
And I don't know. This is like, I can say this part,
right?
Because it's in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
That is true.
And you look at it and you go, and by the end, we still don't know what that was about.
No, we don't.
Anything in the first 10 minutes.
No.
Until Ty goes off to a soccer game, it just shows stuff. It's like, I have no idea what this is connected to.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's basically setting up everything that's going on.
This is going to come back later. I just know it. Maybe then I'll know what's going on.
But anyways, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the other parts. See how all these stories connect. And I've heard it's good, it's bad, it's kind of a mixed bag. But for me personally, I like this first part. It's really the part 1 is very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your spoiler-free thoughts?
So, I am more of a Pokemon fan than a Digimon fan, but I did watch Digimon growing up.
Right.
But it was one of those shows that really felt like you need to watch it in order to get the feeling of the ongoing story, and I was never able, because of age, timetable when it was on, the fact that I didn't have access to a VCR at the time because my mom recorded everything for her.
Mm-hmm. Happens.
It happens. No offense. Not that she's listening to this episode. I watched a lot of the episodes, but so I know at least with season 1, I watched like most of the episodes.
Yeah.
Except for all the stuff on the first island. I came in after that.
Oh, okay.
So he had the Palmon being able to turn into Angemon was already something I knew about.
Yeah.
So I was there for the new Digidestined with Kari and Gatomon. I was there for that.
Uh-huh.
I was there for a good portion of the ending of that first season with Myotismon, I think.
Apocalypmon.
I thought it was Myotismon.
Well, Myotismon is I think he's the second from last main villain.
The vampire dude's the one I remember because he was the one torturing Gatomon. Not really torturing, but had her under her thumb.
Yeah.
That's the one I remember.
That's the...
I just know at one point after that, while she was on the team and they were back on Earth, and they were fighting a giant Digimon, but I don't remember that one's name. That might be your Apocalypsemon.
No, Apocalypsemon is the villain at the very end of the season 1.
And so
that's the last villain.
I may not have seen the ending. I'll admit that.
Myotismon was a very good villain. Don't get me wrong. Very good villain. And I just remember a
joke that at the time was poorly translated and I didn't get it. When Izzy's mom says, "Hey, where's Tento?" Tento? Who's Tento? You know, that little bug creature. You mean Tentomon? And I didn't get the joke at the time.
Okay.
Want to know what the joke is? They were making a joke dealing with Japanese honorifics. Because Izzy would be like Izzy-chan.
Okay.
or Izzy-chan is really more how it would be pronounced.
Yeah.
Izzy-chan Tentomon.
Yeah.
It's a bad pun.
Okay. Didn't get it, American. Didn't get it.
Yeah, we didn't get it. And you shouldn't have translated it. You should have just edited that scene out. That was a good spot for a commercial break.
But either way, like, yeah.
And I watched parts of Adventure 2, and I remember being interested in Tamers, and I actually remember recording it on my own VCR, because by then I had my own VCR.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tamers is good.
I remember watching Tamers for season 3 as I knew it. And that was interesting. Although I never saw how that one ended, once again, because, scheduling and
it's available on Hulu if you're
if I ever want to.
Yeah.
And I've caught episodes of Frontier. I didn't watch any of them after that point, or because anytime I think I tried, I didn't last 5 seconds.
Right, because it gets a little heavy-handed.
But I do know that when Saban got the rights back, right after they got Power Rangers back, also at the same time, they uploaded like a ton of the Digimon stuff onto the internet. I think Hulu, actually. I think is where it was. And it wasn't just the English version. They had the uncut Japanese version.
Really?
And I actually watched some of that. And that was actually, this is very interesting. I don't know who half these names are, because these are not the names for these characters as far as I know. They're close, but they ain't quite.
Right.
I'm amazed that how little of the editing they actually had to do to Digimon to make it work, because of how much English was already in the show.
True. Very true.
They really couldn't change names at that point. That's why there's so many Japanese character names for the Digimon, because half the names are plastered on the back during the Digivolution.
Very true.
But anyway.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like Digimon. I even played a Digimon game on PS4.
Really?
Called Digimon Cyber Sleuth.
I heard of this one.
It was essentially a Pokemon clone, but with Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember trying to figure out how to Digivolve them, and I guess I'd never thought of the chaos of how Digivolution works.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at this tree, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I want to get War Greymon. But I don't have Agumon, but I have this other Agumon-like thing, and I can get there if I go this long serpentine route.
Right.
That's like...
Did he have bands on his arm?
I don't remember. This was like 7 years ago.
Right.
All I remember is thinking, Pokemon's evolutionary trees are a lot simpler than this.
Yeah, it gets a little weird. Even
when you've got stuff like all the evolutions, it's a lot simpler than this. But anyway.
Well, when a Patamon turns into an Angemon, which turns into a holy Angemon, it's like
you're talking
weird.
To someone who forgets every time that, Gatomon is the same level as Angemon. That's
exactly.
But Angewomon is the same level as, was it Archangelmon? Whatever the other
something like
version
that
up was.
Yeah.
I remember actually that was coming up. I was watching this, and you see, oh, cool, Patamon became Angemon. That means we're about to see Angewomon. No, we're not. Still Gatomon. Because none of them went above, what is that, the champion
level?
No one went above champion level until the very end, when we at least got Omnimon back. I just remember going, Gatomon, power up, please. Don't get me wrong. You're a cool character and all, and you've got a lot of stuff, but you are underpowered at this level.
No, she's not.
I know she's not, but there's a part of me that's going, you're the same size as Agumon and Tentomon.
But she's a champion.
But I know this. I'm not saying I don't know this.
Yes.
But half the scenes when she's interacting with, while she's a champion and they're at, in training, I don't remember what that level.
Rookie.
Agumon level, rookie level. I'm still going, you're the same size. You should be the same level. I know that's not how it works.
Right.
It confuses me every time, because in my mind, well, okay, this is why it confuses me.
Okay.
All the other Digimon.
Yeah.
No matter what level they go to and what their names change to.
Right.
To me, it's still Agumon, whether it's Greymon, Metal Greymon, Skull Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon, Guru Greymon. I don't know.
Guru Greymon.
I just made up something.
Okay, Guru Greymon.
But it's like that with all of them. So yeah, it's like always it's Palmon or Biomon or all the others. No
Yeah.
matter what level they're at. It's always Gatomon though with other. So while they're at rookie level, I think, oh, they all went to the next level. Okay, Gatomon, where are you going to? You're going nowhere because you're already at that level.
Exactly.
We didn't get to see her Digivolve this episode. That annoys me.
No.
Even though we did at least get to see one of the season 2 Digivices. But anyway.
Yeah, at least 2 of them. No, correction.
We only got to see one.
We actually saw
We
1,
saw
2,
all- we always-
1, 2, 3,
No.
4. Yeah, 4. We saw 4 of them.
Oh yeah, but all the ones that we saw,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of TK,
Yeah.
were the season 1 version of the Digivice.
True.
Even New Girls was a season 1 Digivice.
That is true.
They at least, when they did when they did TK, they at least let him have his, and it makes sense. That's the one he would have.
Yeah, he would have his D3.
He would have the D3, whatever it's called. I
Yeah.
think of it just as season 2 Digivice.
It's a D3.
I know why it is, but still,
Okay.
I did some research this afternoon. I don't want to look completely worthless
Okay.
in a Digimon conversation.
Okay.
But, so at least we did get to see that in there. Okay, cool. And then we're going to get to see that with Gatomon. No, we're not. Because she's already champion level. I just want her to be at her full potential. That's all it is. And I recognize she's awesome.
She's
where
a powerful
at.
kitty cat.
I recognize this. I'm a cat person. I should be happy that the cat is doing better than the orange puffball. Or for that matter, the small T-Rex. Or the whatever Gabumon is.
Gobblemon? I don't.
Here's the thing.
He's a little creature with a coat.
I remember. That's the thing. I remember a season 1 episode where they were on like a frozen tundra somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
And Gabumon takes off his coat and lays it over Matt.
Yeah, to keep him warm.
And I'm sitting there going, "What happens if you Digivolve right now? What do you turn into?" The way the logic of this show works, it doesn't. You make that big a change and you Digivolve, something's going to be different.
Right.
You're gonna You won't be dark Digivolve because that was not with evil intentions.
Right.
It's gonna be something else. You're gonna be, I don't know, Chibi Garurumon or something. I don't know. The funny thing is I can make up these weird terms, and those could actually be Digimon.
They could.
Anyway,
Digivolution is weird. Let's say that.
it is very weird. I tried to look it up because of something I want to bring up with you later.
All right.
But it is very weird. Anyway, we have spoiler-freed long enough.
Yeah.
Join us on the other side of the bumpers, and we will get to spoiling this thing.
Agumon.
Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, the Cellcast, our Twitch channel, the Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And on our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda?
Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. The following is a spoiler-filled review for Digimon Adventure Tri Reunion. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn this podcast off now. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon Adventure Tri Part 1 Reunion was directed by Keitaro Motonaga, who also directed Persona 3, the movie number 3, Falling Down, which I don't expect you to know what it is. But it's one of the anime movie versions of the game Persona 3.
Oh, okay.
Part of it, because there's obviously 2 other parts before this that adapt that game, because those are long games. Anyway, it was written by Yuniko Ayane, Kitsutaka Hirota, Yuko Kakihara, and Takaki Suzuki. And of course, Digimon was created by Akiyoshi Hongo. And aren't you glad that I'm the one who had to read those names?
Yes, thank you.
Getting into the cast, Joshua Seth was the voice of Tai Kamiya. And in the Pioneer dub of Akira, not the version we saw, but the Pioneer dub, he's the voice of Tetsuo.
That's right.
Vic Mignogna was the voice of Matt Ishida.
Mm-hmm.
And in Dragon Ball, he plays the legendary Super Saiyan Broly.
Really?
Yes. Only he's been in the movies.
Okay, but you hardly ever hear him talk.
You hear him growl a lot.
You hear him growl.
And scream!
So, okay. Yeah, he played the of Broly. Okay.
Colleen O'Shaughnessy played Sora Takanouchi.
Mm-hmm.
And she is, of course, in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 2, along with her cameo in Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and pretty much every Sonic the Hedgehog game made in the past 10 years is the voice of Miles Tails Prowler.
Tails.
Indeed. Mona Marshall was the voice of Izzy Izumi.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 1981 Spider-Man cartoon, she played Betty Brant.
Okay.
I didn't even know there was a 1981 Spider-Man show.
Yep.
Because that's not the one we watched as a kid.
No. That would come like much later in the 90s.
Oh, yes. Phyllis Sampler, which I'm fairly certain I missaid her name. She played Mimi Tachikawa.
Okay.
I bet you didn't even know these were these characters' last names.
For the most part, I did.
Okay. And in the video game series Beautiful Joe, she was the voice of Sylvia, Joe's girlfriend.
Okay.
Robbie Daymond was the voice of Joe Kido.
Mm-hmm.
And in Persona 5, that video game series, and in Persona 5, the animation, he was the voice of Goro Akechi. Which, because of how late something happens in the storyline involving him, I will not say a word other than I hate Goro. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Johnny Young Bosch was the voice of TK Takaishi.
Mm-hmm.
And in Godzilla Singular Point, he played Yun Arikawa.
Hmm.
He's also the voice of Vash the Stampede in Trigun, and probably his most famous role, despite how whether he likes it or not, it will be Adam Park, the second Black Power Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to look those up. I know those from memory. Tara Sands was the voice of Kari Kamiya.
Mm-hmm.
And would you believe she is in Pokemon?
I'm not surprised there's a crossover.
Well, I mean, statistically, there has to be some.
Yeah.
But do you want to guess? I'll even be nice. Which Pokemon is she does she do the voices for?
How many Pokemon are there?
I'll be even nicer. It's a Gen 1 Pokemon.
That's still 100 and something Pokemon.
It's 151. We heard her we heard her voice when we did Pokemon the movie.
Oh, okay.
I have narrowed it down probably to about 50 Pokemon.
Squirtle?
You are so close, it's not even funny.
Okay.
Try a different one of that range.
There again, I know more about Digimon
than
I do about Pokemon.
I'm enjoying torturing you.
Okay. It's a water Pokemon, I guess?
No, it's not a water Pokemon.
Okay.
It's a grass.
It's a Bulbasaur?
Yes, it is Bulbasaur.
Thank you. Okay, I did something right. I figured out a Pokemon reference.
I had to give you hint upon hint upon hint to get there, but admittedly, we had to narrow it down from 950 or so.
Right.
Christine V was the voice of Mako Mochizuki, the new girl.
Yeah.
And in Godzilla Singular Point.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Well, I see the same names over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
She was the voice, or one of the 5 different voices for Jet Jaguar, specifically the baby version.
Really?
And if you've not seen that show, that tells you nothing, and strangely enough, it works. Anyway, Tom Fawn was the voice of Agumon, and in Ice Age of the Meltdown, he played Stu.
Which one's Stu?
I think one of the Meerkats.
Oh, yeah, the comic relief guys.
I think one of them.
Okay.
He wasn't in the other. I think that's the one that introduced him. I've not seen the movie, so don't quote me.
Okay.
I've not seen past the second movie. Kirk Thornton was the voice of Gabumon. And he is the voice not only of Orbot, but also Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic Boom.
Really?
The cartoon.
Interesting.
Also, Orbot, has played that role in all the games that character's appeared in since Sonic Colors.
I gotcha.
Just to throw that out there. Charmy Lee was the voice of Biyomon. And in the anime Fairy Tail, she is the voice of Lucy Heartfilia.
Okay.
Jeff Nimoy, I don't think connected to Leonard, was the voice of Tentomon. And in Trigun, he played Nicholas D. Wolfwood.
You know what? I can hear that.
Now you can hear it.
Now I can hear it. Wolfwood that looks like a bug.
Yes.
Or a beetle, it says.
Anna Garduno was the voice of Palmon. And in the Jack and Daxter video game series, she played Kira.
Okay.
That was the only thing I noticed that I even recognized. And I don't even remember who the character is. But anyway.
Wait, Palmon?
Yeah, Palmon.
Yeah, Palmon, Mimi's Digimon.
Yeah. I mean, the
person
she plays in
Jack
and Daxter, I don't recognize.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I think it's from the new one.
Well, it was from Jack and Daxter and Jak 2 are the ones that quoted.
Well, never mind.
So, yeah. And plus, I don't think they made one after Jak 3. Anyway.
Yeah, anyways.
R. Martin Klein was the voice of Gomamon. And do you remember when we were kids, a spinoff of Power Rangers from our perspective, a show called Masked Rider?
Yeah.
A villain in one of those episodes was named Turtletron.
He voiced him?
Yeah, he voiced Turtletron.
Okay.
And I couldn't pass up an excuse to bring up Masked Rider.
Okay, then.
The adaptation of the Japanese show Kamen Rider Black. I had to think there for a second. Laura Summer was the voice of Patamon. And she voiced Janine Melnitz in The Real Ghostbusters. Kate Higgins was both the voice of Gatomon and Meikumon, who had like just a couple chirps in this episode.
And one line.
Barely a line.
Yeah.
But in Ralph Breaks the Internet, she was the voice of none other than Sleeping Beauty herself, Aurora.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Doug Erholtz was the voice of Daigo Nishima, and he played Vega in Street Fighter V. Dorothy Fawn was the voice of Yuko Kamiya, which is Tai and Kari's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Lupin III, the Castle of Cagliostro manga dub, which is the one they refer to Lupin as Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Because they legally couldn't use the name Lupin at the time. She was the voice of Fujiko Mine. The femme fatale.
Oh, okay.
That stole everything at the end of it. Because she does. And the narrator was John Eric Bentley, who most recently voiced Barrett Wallace in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there because we're about to do 6 weeks of virtually
the same
cast list. So, I'm assuming, at the very least, people are going to listen to this episode first. So, I'm not going to repeat these characters.
Okay.
Assuming they, don't change. But in
they are
ones,
Digimon, they do change.
But in later episodes, since I did not mention anything but the normal forms that we normally see of the Digimon, I will go into their other forms, which have different voice actors.
Yes.
But I didn't want to be here forever.
Right.
And I don't want to have to repeat myself next 5 weeks. So,
right.
Yeah. But Kingdom Hearts connections, which I'm also probably not going to repeat. See if there's any new ones going forward. But Kirk Thornton, who is Gabumon here, is Saix and Issa in Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Doug Erholtz, who was Daigo here, is Squall Leonhardt starting in Kingdom Hearts 2. He doesn't voice him in 1.
Really?
Yes, Leon. Because that's what they called him in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Because it's hilarious. Or at least I find it hilarious. Christine V, who was Mako here, is additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3. And John Eric Bentley, the narrator, was also additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3. But that's not all. Because on the Japanese cast list,
really,
we've got Takahiro Sakurai, who's the voice of Tentomon. He is the voice of Cloud Strife in Kingdom Hearts over there. Hiroaki Harada, who was the narrator over there, is none other than Captain Jack Sparrow. Chika Sakamoto, who is Agumon and Greymon over there, as fun fact, none of the voices change in the Japanese versions with the Digivolutions. None of them.
Really?
That is an American invention.
But
over there, she is the voice of Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Really?
Last but not least, Daisuke Namikawa, who's the voice of Daigo over there, is the voice of young Ericus in Kingdom Hearts 3. He's the one who is the Japanese Mark Hamill, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Which brings me to the end of our cast list. So, info and stuff.
All right. So, info and stuff is available to watch on YouTube for free with commercials. It's available on Pluto TV and the Peacock Network.
Also with commercials.
All right. It has an IMDb of 7.5 out of 10. It's produced. And production was by Toei Animation. Distributed throughout the world, let's say. AU, that would be
Australia.
That's what I thought. Thank you. Madman Entertainment. And that's also for North America. It was for 11 Arts and Shop Factory. And for the UK, it was Manga Entertainment. Its release date for here in the States was November 21st, 2015. That was a digital release. And in the US, it was released September 15th, 2016 with a limited theater run. It's Japan. This was odd to me. It was first released in America, then it was released in Japan.
I think this is because of whatever deal it was that Crunchyroll got originally. And
Yeah.
It was that's when it was separated into the individual episodes.
That could be it.
I think that's what that was. Don't quote me.
All right. So in Japan, it was released December 6th, 2015. All right. So going into box office, could not find a budget for this thing whatsoever. Because there again, it probably budget, it's the entire thing.
Yeah.
So
that is the thing we ran into already doing our research. This, or at least I did.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is the whole thing, all 6 movies.
Yes.
So there's some cut here and there.
Mm-hmm.
At least IMDb's being nice and separating it by a movie.
Yes. All right. So it's U.S. opening weekend was on September 5th. $163,000. Its gross for U.S. Canada was $190,000, and its worldwide gross was $1.9 million. And its home release, there's no information on that. I can't find it anywhere. I might find it next week. So sequel, it has Digimon Tri Determination.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll be the next film we're reviewing.
Yeah, the next one is Determination, followed by... I'm just going to go ahead and list all 6 right here real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Just so everyone knows where we're going. So we did Reunion this week. Next week, we've got Determination. After that, we got Confession, then Loss, Coexistence, and Future. I wonder if the Digimon, I wonder if the Digimon they put on the discs here are important and where they decided to put them. Because, I mean, Agumon is on the disc 1.
Yeah.
He was a major character in this.
Probably Gobamon and not Tinmon.
It's got
Gobamon and Padmon.
Palmon on the next one.
Yeah.
And then okay, every other one of these have like artwork, like special artwork for it. This is literally a screenshot from the movie.
Yeah.
That is weird. Anyway, sorry.
Either way. Don't we all get distracted?
Yes. You were saying.
Yeah, so obviously like the sequel is going to be Determination, so we'll be reviewing that next week.
Yes, indeed. That brings us to the end of info and stuff.
What about trivia?
That's why I was asking if we got to the end of info and stuff.
Yes, we did.
So then I can jump into the summary.
Yeah.
All right. Tai, now in high school, feels downhearted that his friends are slowly drifting apart. Meanwhile, strange occurrences are causing electrical devices to malfunction across, and I'm assuming this is more of the Japanese version of the names, because I don't think in the original Digimon they were in Odaiba.
Odaiba? Yes, they were in Odaiba.
They actually did say Odaiba?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
Odaiba.
I don't know how much of them being Japanese kids was in the original dub.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Yeah,
since I watched the original Digimon. Anyway, minutes before Tai is set to play a soccer match, Kuwagumon appears and invades the city, causing electrical malfunctions. Just as Tai is cornered, his Digivice shines and Agumon appears. He digivolves into Greymon and fights with Kuwagumon, ending up at Haneda Airport. Tai gives chase by hitching a ride with his homeroom teacher, Daigo Nishijima, as more Kuwagumon appear. Tai is joined by the other Digidestined and their partner Digimon, who defeat 2 Kuwagumon before Alphamon intervenes and crushes the last one.
Mm-hmm.
After the battle, the Digidestined investigate the circumstances leading up to Kuwagumon's appearance. Tai and Matt pay a visit to Nishijima, who reveals he is part of an organization monitoring Digimon activity. As Izzy develops ways to produce easier access to their partner Digimon and seek out digital disturbances, Tai begins to fear that people could get hurt as a result of his actions as a Digidestined. Alphamon appears the next day near the Daikon Rancha, whatever that is, targeting a Digimon under the care of Mako Mochizuki, a girl who recently transferred into Tai's class.
Yeah.
With Alphamon proving too powerful for the other Digimon, Matt urges Tai to stop running away from his fears, and together they manage to drive Alphamon off with the power of Omnimon. Afterwards, Mako reveals that she is also a Digidestined, and the targeted Digimon is her partner, Meikumon. Getting into the trivia. This was made for the 15th anniversary for the Digimon franchise.
Mm-hmm.
This marks Joshua Seth's first voice-over role in over a decade following his retirement.
Mm-hmm.
He had expressed interest in returning to voice Tai when fans began to message him over social media.
Mm.
While the cast of the Digimon monsters in the Japanese version has returned for this new project, the human cast features some new actors. The English dub contains most of the original cast, but there are a few new voices.
Mm-hmm.
Vic Mignogna previously voiced Christopher Onuma in Digimon Fusion. Like Matt, Christopher was the main rival to Mikey, the main protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first Digimon entry in which Kari is voiced by Tara Sands instead of Laura Jill Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny Young Bosch and Christina V have both played Black Power Rangers. Adam from Mighty Morphin and Vesper from Hyperforce, which was an animated Power Rangers show.
Really?
Yes, we may have to look this up.
Maybe.
But anyway, that brings me to the end of the trivia. What is your first like?
My first like would be... All right. Heck, it's the idea that, like, okay, in the original series, you had Tai, who was just gun-ho, be like, he did everything. He was just the leader with so much charisma and the whole bit. And you go on to where they realize, be like, Tai believes that the digital world is a video game, and that if he dies, he gets brought back.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this question on, like, if you died in the digital world, do you die in the real life?
Like dreams.
Like dreams, exactly. Yeah, this is not a Nightmare Before Christmas or a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing. But
this is the wrong song to whistle, but I don't care. It's creepy.
But no, be like Ty at that point, he starts questioning all his judgments, and Matt has a tendency of beating him up over it. But it starts that growth of that character to being more of a more mature character. And in this, they kind of continue this with Ty worrying that his actions are having consequences, and that someone could die from their conflicts with these evil Digimon that keep popping up. So I like this struggle that Ty is having with it's not having any it's having his judgment calls, like when they're fighting Alphamon, thank you. They're fighting Alphamon. There's that point of hesitation where they could have got the kill shot, but Tai hesitated, and that caused Omnimon to miss or hesitate to fire. And so you have that, and you get it into the extra scene during the post credit. You get the post credit scene where it's where Tai is still struggling with this. He's still struggling with the responsibility and wanting to be not wanting to cause innocent lives to be snuffed out due to their actions.
Not to mention all the other destruction that's occurring.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, how long until you run out of buildings in the abandoned warehouse district?
That is true. That is so true. And it was just, I found that very fascinating that you had this character that is the leader of the group, but he still struggles with like holding that responsibility and not just going gun ho like he used to when he was a kid. And I miss that, because in season 2 they didn't do that, because obviously Tai wasn't the main character. They just made him more like a mentor leader, which is like, Tai is a mentor. That's kind of weird.
What, you're saying a character can't grow up?
No, I could say, be like, yeah, he definitely grows up.
He's definitely starting to grow up here.
Yeah, he's definitely growing up, but he still struggles with the, not the responsibility, but more the what's the word I'm looking for? The results of his actions.
Yes.
That people could be harmed in these events that are going on. So he struggles with those. I thought that was really fascinating. They continued that thought, or continued they continued that story beat.
Right.
Yeah. So what is your number one?
I love that this is a fun adventure story.
Yeah.
You get you get the seeds of what they're doing with this particular series.
Yeah.
Very early on, but at the same time, immediately after, it's like, okay, yeah, it's a normal life. I got to go. Ty's got a soccer game. Matt's got his band.
Yeah.
With a very Japanese trying to make an English name. Very much so.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these others, people who can't make it to either one, but of course Sora's going to try to make it to both because
it's Sora.
It's Sora. She's trying to be supportive of everybody. And of course Mimi is Mimi.
Yeah, of course. Joe is struggling with his
studying. You get all this is like, it very quickly reminds you, okay, who are all these characters?
Yeah, it's a nice
because
character build
you've
up.
got what, 8? How many Digestion besides the new girl is there in this group? Like 8?
Yeah, there's 8.
That's a lot of people to have to keep up with, and then immediately it's like, okay, you got to know who all 8 of these people are in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're not going to be able to follow the story.
No, you're not. Yeah, it's
and they do a good job of introducing you to all these characters.
They do
before you even have to remember. Oh yeah, there's another 8 characters that are connected to them. We're gonna have to introduce you to here in a bit.
Yeah,
when the adventure gets started, but they're already showing things like, you know, the messed up versions of the Kuwagumon that are going through and messing up the electrical grid. And I'm still sitting there going, Izzy, you should already know about this. This shouldn't be catching you by surprise.
Yeah.
As much as you're into this. I mean, we'll find out he has his own office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he really should be a little more on the ball right now.
You would think.
He's really trying to figure out how to get to the digital gate. Is that what it was called? That was somehow closed? I don't know what that is a reference to. If that came up in, I'm assuming, the end of Digimon Adventure 2. Or
yes.
Came in, or if it was something that happened in between 2 and Tri.
It's in season 1, the digital gate closed, but they were able to bypass it through like a digital portal or something like that through the computers.
But apparently it's still closed, and so they can't get back, and that's why these other portals are. Yeah,
somehow they're popping up. Yeah,
right, and somehow our hero Digimon got through without whatever virus was affecting everybody else.
Yeah,
there's a lot of these things that they don't exactly explain, and I'm willing to give that time before I call it a complaint.
Yeah,
to see where this goes. Now, if by episode 6, the last one, we don't get any explanation, that's going to start showing up more in my dislikes. Yeah, because it's like you have planted seeds, you need to jump on them.
Indeed.
I don't expect you to figure everything out in part 1. If you got a series, you got to plant the seeds now and answer them later. You have to. Or otherwise you run into J.J. Abrams-itis. Because he's very good at asking questions, but he's horrible at answering them, in my opinion. But that's not what we're here for. It's just a fun adventure story. You got all this stuff happening. You got a mystery that they need to solve.
Oh, yes.
Why the kids need to solve it, and the adults seem to be just content to hang out in the background with no explanation. I will get more into that in a minute. And like you said, this isn't about it being an adventure story, but I am going to go and throw this in there because, like you said, the characters are growing up. They have. Yeah. You can still tell they're the characters that we saw on the show. Yeah. But they're more aware of their responsibilities, especially Ty. Yeah. He's depressed throughout this entire movie.
Oh yeah.
Because he can't get his friends to come watch his soccer game.
Yeah.
He can't even get his sister to come.
Yeah. Well, she's always going to birthday parties.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, she can see his game any old time,
right?
Because there's going to be other soccer games,
and also it's the fact to be like they are growing up.
And they're growing up, and
they're teenagers now,
and their interests are starting to pull them apart.
Yeah,
and to focus on different things. And then this event happens, and so they all have to come back together. And it makes sense that Ty, coming into this adventure depressed from all this other stuff, and he goes from being, depressed. Maybe he starts to get excited when Kuwagumon shows up. It's like, okay, we've got stuff happening. Adventure's going to happen. But during all that, he's seeing all this destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And he's old enough to start realizing destruction of property. There could be people in these buildings.
Yeah.
And because Agumon wasn't here, I was helpless. And that could be on me because I was the only person who knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And
that felt that personal responsibility.
Right. And that starts to pull on him throughout the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt does try to get him out of this in the only way Matt
can,
which is completely rude and disrespectful of Ty's feelings, but that's Matt.
Yeah.
He's the one cool customer of the entire bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the cool kid. He's always been the cool kid.
Yeah.
And he's and Ty, bless his heart, that's why he's so hesitant about everything. It's like, but people are going to get hurt. I think anytime any of us have ever had to deal with the responsibilities for our actions, it's very easy for us all to freeze.
Yeah.
So the fact that they actually are showing that here as something that Ty is going to have to learn to push through, because he's going to have to push through for this story. That's the only way this is going to work. Eventually, he had to push through here to get Omnimon out, but that doesn't mean he still didn't feel the consequences of those actions in that after credit scene.
Yeah,
or it was in a mid credit scene.
Yeah,
I don't remember which one.
It's a mid credit scene.
It was after the credit. It was after the movie quote unquote went off.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's still dealing with that, and so he's gonna have to sometime by the last movie. He's gonna have to come. He's gonna have to say, yeah, this stuff could happen, but we should try to minimize the damage and collateral damage as much as possible. We still have to act.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to come to that realization. He kind of came to that realization here, but he's going to have to come more to that realization as the show goes on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm happy that they're actually doing kind of a more mature story than, the kids' story we get both with pretty much every other Digimon cartoon.
Right.
Because they always are, not junior high, whatever the Japanese equivalent of elementary school is.
Yeah.
In everything else, because they are literally kids.
Yeah,
and now we're in high school, and it makes sense that in that time they would have grown up some and had to deal with all these responsibilities, which then begs the question. Well, no, I'll get to that when I get to dislikes.
Okay,
what's your second like?
My second dislike is the whole mystery of part one. Is like, okay, there's something that's happened to the other Justin is Kin, Yoli, Cody, and what's his face, Davis. Be like, there's something that happened to them. They got defeated in some capacity. We have no idea what's going on. Be like, why is Kuwagumon showing up? Who is this main baddie who showed up? What's going on?
Who is the egg that didn't know?
Yeah, exactly
the world
that
was, but he created he got a soul, and it's like, because the thing reads like you're reading Genesis.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a beginning story.
What is this? Who is this? Obviously this is going to be our villain. I assume.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Right.
For all I know, this is Meikumon. For all I know,
who knows?
It could easily be the giant cat.
Yeah.
Interesting trivia note. When I saw this originally back, was it 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Meikumon was the first time I had ever heard of a Maine Coon cat.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
And I want a Maine Coon cat so badly you don't know. I'll never be able to get one in this apartment, but
big fluffy cat.
Yeah, big fluffy cat. Also, I'm fairly certain I'll have to shave it daily.
And the cat absolutely love you for that.
As hot as Texas is, yeah.
Yeah, poor cat.
I mean, heck, have you seen the weather for Christmas?
Yeah.
It's 80 degrees. That's the high.
Maybe it'll change, or it might change.
I'd be happy in the 60s.
Yeah,
that's still Christmassy. That's still nice warm, but 80 degrees, that's when you start sweating.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
Anyways, yeah. So just the grand mystery of this first outing, the part one. reunion is like, okay, our characters they're growing up, and they're like Drew said earlier, they're kind of, their social obligations are pulling them apart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just profoundly mystery. It's like, okay, what's going on? Who's this Mako? Who's Makomon? Who are these other little Digimon who are popping up?
Yeah.
Like, who are sending like the Kawagamon into the real world? How are they doing it? And so this confounding mystery is like, oh my gosh, I got to figure out more. So yes, thankfully they made 6 movies and not, oh, here's the first one. We didn't finish it. Sorry. But thankfully they did.
Gee, I think you're channeling your frustrations with another anime movie series that you may have strong connections with.
Which one?
A rebuild of something, perhaps an Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
That it's taken 10 years to produce 4 movies.
Right, that's understandable. But
Digimon did 6 movies in 3 years.
4 years.
4 years still.
Yeah.
That's
a long time.
That's a feat.
Yeah. But there again, I love the overall story they've told in this first one, that it's be like you are the mystery is left open. It's like, what's going on? What's going to happen next? And so I find that incredibly intriguing and want to see more. So that's good storytelling when it gives you a hook and you catch it and you just want to keep understanding what's beyond this hook.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my number 2.
So my number 2, I have to make a confession of my own.
Okay.
Because as much as I am a Pokemon fan, and it's what I more spent my time with, I will admit that Pokemon is missing what I would, missing until like the most recent games, something that Digimon has had from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kaiju fights.
Pretty much.
Because that's what size they are. Now, admittedly, if you actually go into the Pokedexes, some of the Pokemon are giant.
Right.
That are the size, but they were never animated that way.
Of course.
So, the fact that we actually get obviously Omnimon versus Alphamon is an amazing fight to watch.
Yes.
But even before that, the Greymon versus the Kawagamon, and then all the champion forms with the exception of Patomon, that's the cactus.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's
Joe's.
Oh,
that champion form. I can't even think of the rookie form's name.
Gatomon or Gobamon.
Well, Gomamon is the rookie name.
Ikakumon.
Yeah. Either way, we don't get to see either one of those in that fight, but we do get to see them later before the actual Omnimon fight, because they do show up in Digivolve.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said before, which I think we talked about this, I don't know if we talked about this on the stream.
Okay.
My feelings on Gatomon at technically being a champion level.
I think you talked about it before. Either way,
I keep confusing the fact that Gatomon is actually champion level, because in my mind, she's the same level as Agumon.
She's a rookie.
Else. She's a rookie level, but she's not.
But they explained that in season 1.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I remember the story because it's like, this is a surprisingly sad story for a children's show.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I understand the reasoning for the story, and I love the redemption arc, because I'm a sucker for redemptions.
Mm-hmm.
But I do forget,
Wizardmon.
15 years later, however long it's been, she's champion level. So she's actually as strong as Angemon.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Angemon is the stronger version at the ultimate level.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to that except for the warp digivolution that wasn't a warp digivolution, because they actually all got an attack off between each form.
That is true.
Greymon, Metal Greymon, War Greymon, and then
Technically,
Garurumon, Metal Garurumon, and I can't remember the other one. Anyway, I think even Agumon and Gabumon actually got off an attack too before they
technically
digivolved.
Yeah, technically those are not warp digivolutions.
Right,
they're
but I mean, it's
traditional warps.
It is traditional digivolution, but it's taking the place of what would have been in the show a warp digivolution. That's why I said it was a warp digivolution. It wasn't a warp digivolution. I gotcha.
Technically it'd be a double warp digivolution, but either
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
They had to get to the point where they could be Omnimon, and they didn't skimp.
No.
They did not take the shortcut they had to take in the show because they didn't have the money or the time to actually go through every digivolution. That's why the warp digivolution or the double warp digivolution actually exists.
Yes.
It's like, we got movie time.
We got the budget. We can do that.
We can send a whole minute for each one to go through every digivolution and actually throw an attack at this guy. So we can actually do this whole cool warm up to us. Okay, now we got Omnimon and he's about to kick your butt. He doesn't kick his butt, but still.
Yeah.
He at least spooked him back to what I'm assuming is the digital
world
or whatever other dimensions these things might be connected to. I'm making some guesses here. I don't know. But anyway. But the fact that we actually get giant kaiju battles throughout this movie. And it's going to keep going because we only got to see champion level here.
Yeah.
We still got we still got ultimates and megas to go through.
Yeah.
And they're coming.
Oh yeah.
And then we get the introduction and then we have the introduction to Meikumon. And I'm sitting there going, you don't just introduce a Digimon for the heck of it.
No.
And I don't know how the toy sales were connected to this. I don't even know if toy sales were involved in the creation of Digimon Adventure Tri. Because like they would have been in all the other shows. Yeah.
I believe they did make a line of them.
Well, I'm sure they did, but I'm sure that was not the point of Digimon Adventure Tri.
No.
The point was, let's make a cool movie.
Yeah.
A cool series of movies for everyone to enjoy, and if we can get some toys out of it, great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't go through the trouble of introducing 2 new characters for them to be just new people.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
Pretty much.
So I'll be interested to see how this happens.
All right.
Going forward. What's your third like?
My third like goes kind of along yours. Be like it's the animation for the fight scenes. Be like you were talking like the animation in this movie is very well done.
Yes.
But when it comes to the Digimon fights are more often not what you would call more of a kaiju fight.
It really is more of a kaiju fight.
It is more kaiju fights. Definitely when you have a pint-sized kitty that can punch a Quagumon down.
Oh yeah.
But it's just the animation in these are absolutely incredible. The attack fight, the attack animations are absolutely incredible. The one thing I did enjoy about this, there was never one moment throughout the entire thing. The Digimon does not pronounce its attack. It just attacks.
Yes. We did hear a pepper breath. Agumon did say pepper breath.
Yeah, he did say it at one point. He did say pepper breath.
When he was the only one that was on Earth at that time.
Yeah.
So he did say pepper breath, but everybody else
no, it's just
simple. Did the attack. It's like that's all you need.
It's like, oh yeah, let's tell our enemies what I'm throwing at you.
Yeah.
But overall, like the animation of those are just freaking genius, freaking beautiful. Be like your special effects, your after effects, everything. It's like, oh my gosh, because it looks like it's drawn, but obviously it's digital. Yeah, it's a digital effect. But
well, I mean, this is vector. I think most of this is vector style animation. Yeah, but it's a lot more fluid than that. Yeah, and they throw in a lot of CG 2D stuff too. Yeah, in some spots.
Yeah, I love those. I love the Digimon's Digivolutions because they changed that. They made it to more of an egg and you become a different Digimon.
More on that in my third like.
I gotcha. But overall, it's the Digivolution animations, the fight scenes, the Digi-Destiny character animations were general at best. They're good. Do not get me wrong. They're very good animations. But when the Digivolution and the fighting happens, the animation gets cranked up.
Yeah.
And I love that. Absolutely love that. So, yeah. Animation. What's yours?
So my third, I'm going to admit I'm a little on the fence on this. I'm ultimately counting it as a because if you take the nostalgia glasses off and look at the transformation sequences for what they are, they're actually very good. It's very nice animation. There's only one little hiccup, and I think that was on Tentomon's where they really had to squeeze him in to fit in the egg.
Yeah.
at that point, but everyone else looked good going through that transformation, and I do like how everyone but TK had their original Digivices, while TK was, of course, using the D3 that he got in Season 2. And one assumes that when Gatomon actually gets to Digivolve, we'll see Kari's D3. But, like I say, I'm on the fence because I love transformation sequences.
Yeah.
In not just anime, but anytime they show up. It's like watching Magical Girl transform, Power Rangers morph, that sort of thing. And in my mind, if you're going to do that stuff correctly, especially with something that you've got nostalgia glasses for, the transformation should do more. The transformation sequence, even if you're doing new stuff with it, should do more to be a throwback to the original. Now, admittedly, you go back and look at the original transformation from Rookie to Champion, it is not special.
No.
It is very cheap. So they had to do something, don't get me wrong. And there is some throwbacks to what they did with Digimon Season 1 in those transformations. Because bear in mind, what I remember in Season 2, when they did get regular Digivolutions back, and we did get Palmon going to Angemon, they went back to the original stock footage.
Yeah.
For those times. And that's true of pretty much all of them, and except for, of course, the newer shows where technically it's even different Digimon.
Yeah.
But this one, since they did a reimagining of that sequence, there is some elements that are of that original thing, but there is a part of me that's like, you could have done more to give it more of the feel.
Right.
And so I'm hoping when we get to Ultimate Digivolutions, it's not the same as the champion level.
Right.
I really hope we get more of a interesting transformation. I know we don't technically get the crests again. Although the crests will be involved, but I mean, they don't have the actual pendants anymore.
Yeah, I'm curious how I know they're going to the ultimate stage.
Yeah, they have to.
But how in the world do they do it?
That's going to be the question. And I'm hoping with the transformation sequences, it's because I know at least that hint transformation sequence, there's more to it. I mean, it's not as bad as the baby level to the rookie level. Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, that was literally it's like a page flip in that original. There was not much to that. No, they did like the entire group in like 10 seconds in the original. For those initial Digivolutions. Right. This is close, but it's not quite there. And it actually gives more, but it's like, I wish there was more connection. And because for the English dub, I wish they'd actually done the transformation music from Digimon and not go to the Japanese music that we hear throughout most of this. Don't get me wrong. I do like Digimon Are Back Again. Yeah. But at the same time, I know that's like the only concession they were able to make for this because of the budget. I just wish they had done just a touch more for the English version to kind of give us more of that original our Digimon feel, basically. Yeah, agreed. But anyway. Yeah. That being said, while I know you're a Digimon fan, you got to have something to dislike about the movie. Oh, yeah. At least one thing. So, what do you got for me? All right. So I'm going to go, kind of not in particular order this time, but it's going to be like light, kind of heavy. And this one's like an extreme nitpick. But it kind of goes back to my dislike of what they did with season 2 of Digimon. All right. So going to my first one,
when Kawagumon attacks Tai and Tai gets out of the field and goes into the building, and he's confronted by the Kawagumon again, and the Kawagumon roars, it sounds like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Okay.
I'm like, you stole that roar. I'm like,
couldn't you have had some random old white guy just go
something like that? Something like that. But
like they would have done for the cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. But I found I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, wait, that's the T-Rex roar from Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, interesting. It's like, oh, okay, you could have done something different, but there again, be like,
well, I mean, the Kawagumon probably aren't going to show up again, I'm guessing. So maybe they are trying to save a little bit, or at least the Japanese version. Maybe that's how the Japanese version did it. I don't know in the original original anime, and it's just what we got because of how they did this particular dub.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. Unlike the Saban dubs of Digimon Adventure 1 and 2, aka Digimon Season 1 and 2, this is actually fairly accurate to what's actually happening in the Japanese version of this.
Agreed.
They only just gave us a little bit of throwback for us on the nostalgia with the one song.
Right. But either way, I noticed that and I was like, that's a little bit odd. Be like, yeah, I understand where be like, maybe you want to throw homage, be like, it's a monster. You want to give homage to maybe Jurassic Park. So you use the roar. Either way, I just noticed that and that was a little bit weird, but it was still cool. It was a little weird. Okay, that was my number one.
All right.
The Kawagumon sound like a T-Rex.
My number one there's two little animation hiccups, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
The big one, at least for me anyway, is a small continuity error when Greymon is fighting Kawagumon, because when they go into the portal, it's daytime where Tai is. Mm-hmm. When they come out of the portal, it's nighttime.
That makes sense.
And it's not that it was even sunset.
Yeah.
It was daytime.
Yeah.
An hour had to have transposed between those scenes, and at best it was probably 10 minutes.
Yeah. The
sun don't set that fast.
That is true. Didn't think about that.
I would love to know what the thought process was there. For most people, it probably didn't matter. It's just me looking, going, wow, the sun sets fast in Japan. The other thing is, in the scene where they're all talking down by the river.
Yeah.
The effect they used on the water is not layered correctly.
I gotcha.
The water looks like, and it's going to sound stupid, but it looks like it's floating above the riverbank.
Huh.
It looks like it's layered improperly, like it's not, obviously it's flowing over the rocks, don't get me wrong there.
Right.
But, I mean, it looks like it's about a foot above where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Like they did not, it's obviously the cutouts in the water effect, because it's obviously a CG water effect.
Yeah.
Around where the rocks are that it's coming around in that little riverbank. But it looks like it's about standing a foot higher than where that is, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed this, but it just like stood out like a sore thumb. It's like I'm watching going, what is wrong with that water? That water is something bad about there. And it happens again in the next scene there where it's like sunset and Tai and I think Matt's with him. I think it's another one of those Tai and Matt argument scenes that aren't arguments. Right. You know the ones I mean. And he's looking at the water. It's obviously the same water effect, but it's not as pronounced.
I got you.
Because of the angle. But those angles where they're at the river, and it's because it's the first time Joe actually finally meets back up with the group is the one I'm talking about.
Right, okay.
And if you go back and look, it's like, okay, yeah, there's something a little iffy there.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's not that big a deal. And from the angles from their point of view, like when they're under the bridge, it's fine. But those initial overshot views, where you're looking at it, you're going, all right, so I was going, that's not quite right.
Right.
But yeah, those little continuity animation issues were my number one dislike.
Okay.
What's your number two?
Okay, mine there again. It's nitpick. It's more why does this character do this? This makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when Izzy is having dinner with his family, with his parents, who, if you don't remember from season 1, are his adopted parents.
Right.
Either or. So they are having their anniversary dinner, and be like, Izzy can't make it. So Sora is trying to conflict what she needs to do, and she calls Izzy.
And he's at a French restaurant.
And he's speaking French while he's speaking to her. But he tells her, "Oh, I'm in my lab. What's up?" Why on earth is Izzy lying to Sora about going to dinner?
I don't know.
Like, why?
It's a nice little comedic bit.
It's comedic, but it's...
And I wonder if there was something that we missed in the translation going forward. Maybe he didn't say... I don't think he said... When I don't remember if it was Ty or somebody else was talking to him about going to the soccer game or the band practice.
He was talking to Ty.
I don't remember if he said why he couldn't make it.
No, he told Ty he couldn't make it because he's having his parents, they're doing their anniversary dinner, and he's going to be there.
Oh, if that's the case, that's how it is in the English version.
Yes.
I wonder if in the Japanese version he's not as forthcoming for some reason. And that's what leads to that in that version. And here it's just like, well, we have the scene and we can't go past it because of how Blu-rays work.
Right.
So we have to actually have this scene. And it's a funny scene, don't get me wrong, but the setup is a little weird.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
All it would take is Izzy to, for some reason, have to set up why he couldn't tell them where he was for the soccer game. Right.
Like, I understand you have to work within the boundaries you have.
Yeah.
It just was so odd that he
also
blatantly lied to her, even though she can hear him speaking French.
Yes.
And he's trying to explain it away with be like, well, the internet's not working very well and the cell phone signals are not very well.
There is that, but I'm also wondering at the same time, I don't speak French myself, but I recognize the name of French foods.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me Sora doesn't recognize the name of French foods? At the same time, why don't you say, look, Sora, I'm busy. Hang up. I can't help you. Yeah. It's like, hey, maybe I should walk away from the table. We're sorry, waiter. We'll come back and make our order in a second because apparently I'm the only one at the table who knows French.
It is
in Japan.
Yeah.
They could probably order in Japanese, is what I'm saying.
Probably.
But anyway. Sorry.
Yeah.
I jumped on that.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
Because I had some issues with that, but it wasn't a big enough issue for me to make it dislike.
There again, it's more of a nitpick. It's like, okay, why is he lying about where he's at, and he's not he doesn't want to be truthful with Sora.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I don't get that scene either.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Logic of it, but
it's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's just the logic of it is just like, okay, why is he lying about this?
Yeah. And it's not like he really gets caught at it either.
No, because Sora is basically like, oh, okay, you're telling me you're somewhere, but
you're obviously busy. I'll call you later.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway.
Yeah, either way, that was my nitpick number 2. What's your number 2?
Why does every Digimon just happen to show up at the airport?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. It made sense.
They weren't summoned.
No. Let me get on this. It made sense that Agumon would show up where Tai was.
Yeah, because he was in danger.
He was in danger. What? But so he went to Tai because it obviously got there through his Digivice.
Yeah.
So, that being said, how did the other Digimon get there? Because here's the thing. It's not that they came through the Digivices, because even though there are 2 Digidestined who are not at that fight, but their Digimon are. Yeah. And they even lament, oh, I can't do anything if Mimi's not here.
Yeah.
Mimi would eventually show up. But but why didn't not Biomon, because that's the other one. Palmon?
Palmon.
Why didn't Palmon show up with Mimi? Because Mimi obviously had her Digivice with her. Because why wouldn't she?
That just makes no sense.
How do you explain that at airport security? There's a question.
Yeah. It's like, wait, why do you have a flower-based creature? Oh my gosh,
No,
it's talking.
I'm talking about the Digimon.
Yeah.
Why in the Digivice? What is this weird little toy thing you've got that doesn't do anything? It doesn't power on because there's no connection to the digital world. Is this a bomb? Maybe?
Yeah, that's a good question.
The TSA was busy at this time too, and she came from America.
Yeah.
I don't care. Somehow she would have had to been checked, and this little thing would have popped up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe it masked because it's technically a digital device. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Maybe there's a masking thing, and it didn't, and the X-ray didn't pick it up. I don't know.
No. Who knows?
But there's that weird thing, and then the other one doesn't go to Joe. No, the other one,
Gobamon.
Gomamon doesn't go to Joe, which honestly that would make more sense than Gomamon saying, "Well, I don't care what y'all are doing. I'm going to go find Joe."
Yeah.
It's like, I know you can't do anything, Gomamon, but you don't know where Joe is. You don't know this town. It's
been a while.
Someone's going to pick you up and think you're a lost animal and throw you in the zoo. I'm sorry, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or you'll be dissected because, hey, it ain't like the shady government agents we get no explanation for in this movie.
Yeah,
actually helped him, which they honestly should have, which more on that here in a minute. Anyway, what's your third dislike?
Oh my gosh, my third dislike. Now, granted, this is an extreme nitpick, and this story point drove me nuts in the original series or the second series. All right, so I'm gonna throw this one out there. All right. Yeah, exactly. All right. So when TK is at his house, he's talking to somebody on the phone, but he's on a website and it's talking to other Digidestined around the world.
Right.
That irked me because it harkens back to a story arc called, if I remember correctly, it's the Digi World Tour, where the Digidestined go around the world trying to find all the other Digidestined to go somehow to, bring them all together to, fight evil or whatever.
You mean like Willis?
Yeah, Willis, he doesn't show up, which is like...
Of course not, he's a movie character.
He's simply a movie
No
character.
one cares about Willis.
Yeah, no one cares.
Except every person in that movie, all throughout, when they had to somehow find a way to connect these three shorts together. Sorry.
But...
What you talk about, Willis?
Yeah, exactly. Go watch that episode. Or listen to that episode, actually.
Listen to that episode anyway, because it's funny.
It is funny. So it's this whole thing that all these kids had watched the fight with what is that? Oh, come on, head in my head. The big fight where Omnimon showed up. Diaboromon. Be like, apparently when all the kids back in 1998 watch the big fight between Omnimon and Diaboromon? Diaboromon, thank you.
Because it's going to be the Japanese version, pronunciation of Diablo, so
yeah.
Diaboromon.
Like, now, granted, internet in 1999, 1998.
They had live TV back then.
That's
and
true.
It wouldn't have been, second per second, but it would have been enough. And you can't tell me that they would not be with that kind of a tragedy is the wrong term, but that kind of large scale event, that there wouldn't be some transferring of the Japanese footage around the world.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with you there. Here's my problem. Okay, so with season 1, it was unique because you had a bunch of kids who were destined to save the digital world. So then you get season 2, where you get a bunch of other Digidestined who are Digidestined to defend the world, defend the digital world and the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So now you go into this, all these other kids who saw this fight are now Digidestined. So
Shouldn't that be every child in the world?
Yeah,
because that would have been news.
Yeah, that would have been. Well, it was more that like they had to watch the stream. They had to watch the video.
Once again, this would have been on the nightly news.
Yeah, probably.
If this happened.
Yeah. But it's just
you
me,
would have seen it on KLTV
probably,
around here.
Probably. So for me, it was
also this is your excuse for the Digimon digital pet you could get at the time that this is technically all based on.
Yeah, it's all based on the video,
on the Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi,
not Tamagotchi itself, but a Tamagotchi-like thing.
Yeah, which were made by the same person apparently.
Anyway,
either way, that be like that in itself like takes away the uniqueness. Be like, oh, you're destined to do this. So now it's become muddled. It's become watered down. Where everybody has a Digimon now. It's like, okay, the whole uniqueness of this is completely gone now.
I get what you're saying.
It frustrated me beyond belief.
I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Do not get me wrong.
Right.
However,
okay,
it makes perfect sense to me why more and more people would get Digimon as time went on. Now that there is a connection and a way to get Digimon back and forth, and there's a way for Digimon to connect to other human children. And my excuse for this is internet.
Yeah, I understand.
Think about it. In 1998, like you said, almost none of us had internet.
Yeah, none of us.
Well, I mean, I think I had internet, but it wasn't much.
I had dial-up,
which was internet technically.
Yeah, it was dial-up.
But if you think about it, going all the way back to all the other, it starts with a few people having access to the internet, and it slowly grows until like now, I think it's 90% of
the globe.
The globe has access to the internet in one form or another.
Right.
So it makes sense that as the internet would grow, the digital world would grow as it would all become more interconnected.
I agree with you
there.
There's
more Digimon coming out, and as more humans are connected to the internet, it makes more sense they would connect to Digimon.
Right.
So there's more new Digi-destined, probably to a point where come, let's just say 2050 as an extreme far out date for this, there might be a point where every human has a Digi partner.
Right.
Much like the avatars that we saw in Summer Wars.
That is true.
That's my only little throwback here. It's like, it makes sense that there would be a growth of data. Because think about it. And it would grow exponentially. Because it's not like you add 5 more or 10 more. You probably added, 100 more?
Something like that.
There's probably by the end of that, there's probably like maybe 100 Digidestined probably total.
Maybe.
By that point. Yeah, it's not unique anymore. It's like you said, it's not as special anymore.
Yeah.
But that just is because the two worlds are
becoming
merging and becoming one.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's why, starting with season 3, they wiped the slate clean and got it back to just a couple people having Digimon.
Yeah.
And even in that one, it grew to like 30 before the end of that season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just found that very annoying because at the very end of the show, it really had no impact. It'd be like you had all these Digidestined, but the story was completely dropped. Except like it was more than
that's because they had no idea what to do with the world as they set up.
Probably.
But it also makes sense, and you have to think about this. If you're going to make an honest sequel to what they did in Digimon Adventure Season 2, even the stuff you don't like, you have to at least acknowledge.
I agree. I completely agree with that. They had to acknowledge it.
You know I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And you know that that over there is a movie I absolutely hate that has Star Trek on the name of it.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact that I own 7 different copies right now of that same movie.
Yeah.
Because I had to complete the collection. That's just the thing.
Yeah.
And
I would completely agree with you.
Star Trek has not done a real big job of acknowledging the existence of said movie.
Yeah.
After that point, but it's still there.
Yeah, be like, I completely agree with you. They do have to acknowledge
your bad points.
Yeah, you do.
And that was obviously maybe a low point in the series. That's why they felt a need to reboot for season 3.
Yeah,
probably. But when they made this, it's like, well, we have to at least acknowledge it. It makes sense that at this point, that relationship, because their lives are going forward and they can't be all around the world all the time. It makes sense in, what is this, like 2002, 2003 when this is probably taking place.
This movie?
Yeah. It's not in 2020.
No, it's
even though they have iPhones.
2014?
But they're in high school. Wait, where were they in Digimon Season 2? Or Ty and them? They were in junior high, weren't they?
They were 11, so they would have just been going into junior high.
Right. And they're not freshmen here, but they're all both ages are at least
now in high school.
Even TK and Kairi are in high school.
Yeah.
So that means, and in Japanese high school, that means that they are at least TK and Kairi are they were at least within 3 years of each other.
Yeah.
So that's probably at least 6 years. And the first show was like what, 95?
No, it was 98, 99.
I'm talking about not when it came out, when it took place.
Yeah. There again, I don't know that date because I know
I'm kind of digging in a little too deeply here, but I'm thinking this had to have taken place around the year 2000.
Roughly.
Is roughly when this is taking place.
Agreed.
Which doesn't go with their phones, but whatever.
I'll
let that slide here.
Yeah.
We didn't have smartphones in the year 2000, but anyway.
There again, be like
I'm going to assume the Marvel rules of time usage, where everything's on a sliding scale in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whatever they need the technology to be at that time.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that even then it might have been reduced to a chat room.
Yeah.
Chat room back in the 90s, a Facebook Messenger group nowadays.
Right.
Or Discord.
Right.
Discord group. It could be one of those things. And honestly, that's probably as far as it goes, because none of the Digidestined until this movie have been able to get to their Digimon, right?
Right.
So obviously the excitement of there being hundreds of Digidestined has dropped off.
Yeah.
And it's back to where we were before the Digidestined thing happened.
Right.
That's just my only... Obviously, there'll still be some connection.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming at it from, but this is the only way I can rationalize why...
I get it.
This is how you acknowledge where the series was when it ended, and launch off from there.
Oh, yeah. And plus, fun fact, with Season 2, apparently the original staff actually went on strike. They said, nope, we don't like the way this story's going. We're mad at the director, or mad at the studio, whatever. So they changed the ending. They changed the the third act. They changed it because we were like, nope, we don't want to do this. So they literally changed it. So that's why the ending of Season 2 is so bizarre, so weird, because the staff went on strike and just did their own thing. So yeah, that's my number 3. I know it's a weird gripe, but I understand why they had to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I would have been fine if we had not acknowledged this at all.
Yeah.
But they did.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And there again,
and plus, if it also makes sense that Izzy would want to be double checked. It's like, hey, is this happening everywhere, or is it just here?
Yeah, well, it wasn't Izzy, it was TK.
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way. Izzy was probably been doing it too, let's be honest.
Probably.
He just showed it being TK.
Yeah.
My last dislike for
okay.
this. Shady government agency is shady.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, this is one of those things that's going to fall off for me as a big dislike probably going forward, because they're going to have to explain something about this government agency at some point. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to for this story to make any amount of sense. But in this particular movie, their entire... Admittedly, they probably have no way of fighting a Digimon outside of the Digidestined.
Mm-hmm.
And they're awfully convenient showing up Digimon.
Yeah.
But they explain nothing to these kids.
No.
They tell them nothing. I mean, Daigo eventually at least does tell Matt and Tai what's kind of going on, but doesn't go into a lot of detail.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not like they're them as an agency, they're not doing anything to support them other than, oh, you need to all get to the airport. We can do that right quick, but then we're just going to leave you to the Kuwagumon. Hope you survive.
Thanks.
And then later on, and they don't really even get involved with the kids' investigation.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, the shady government agency should be telling the kids what they know. And I don't just mean what Daigo told them. Because obviously Daigo didn't tell them everything. There's no way that's all the government agency knew.
Yeah.
About what was going on. Because they knew exactly where to take the kids. They knew exactly where Greymon went. Whether that was a 10-minute sunset or not. They knew they have at least more of an idea of what's going on.
And they knew who the Digidestined are.
And these are high school kids. They know who the Digidestined are. And they're high school kids. They even knew somehow, hey, we need to get Mimi back to Japan just in time for the Kawagumon to show up. Let's transfer her dad back to Japan.
Pretty much.
Awfully convenient, if you ask me. It's got to be the work of this shady government organization, or just plot convenience. One of the two. I prefer to think shady government organization is taking care of all the plot convenience stuff, so you have a good excuse.
That is true.
I don't know if that's what's going on, but if shady government agency does not start giving us real answers in at least the next 4 episodes, because by 5 we ought to at least have a 90% idea of what's going on, and just trying to figure out the last bit of it going into future, so we can have our big awesome giant fight. But the shady government agency doesn't even appear to care about the safety of these kids.
Yeah,
and
they can't do anything. Bye.
And despite the fact they get Mimi there, they don't even bother trying to get Joe.
No.
They don't even know where Joe is.
Apparently. But Gomamon does.
Gomamon somehow does. I guess he could probably track him through his Digivice because of the connection and all that.
Right.
But still. And they didn't help Gomamon get to Joe, because Gomamon just goes. And I'm thinking, and like I said earlier, Gomamon, you will be found by animal control
in a heartbeat,
thrown into a pound, and Joe
more of an aquarium than anything, because he's a seal.
Still, he's still gonna have to go and probably pay a hefty fine to get Gomamon out of pet jail.
Why is this thing talking to us?
And of course, they'd have to make this excuse like Stitch. Oh, he's just a weird kind of dog. It's like, this is a dog. He has flippers,
and he talks.
It's like, well,
he doesn't know when to shut up.
Shady government agency. You want to give me a hand with this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally see that point. Where that would be kind of a funny side one. It's like, oh yeah, how did Gomamon get there?
That's far funnier than, oh, hi, Sora. I'm Izzy at a French restaurant, but I don't want to tell you I'm at a French restaurant. I'm just going to continue ordering in French and pretend that somehow the auto translation that has never existed on phones, even on my super fancy phone, is somehow shorting out and translating everything into French for only you to hear. And for some reason, I'm telling you about a lot of French cuisine.
Yeah.
Okay. Be funnier having to get Gomamon out of pet jail. Out of the pound.
I can see that conversation. It's like,
this
thing is talking to me. What's going on?
That would have been far funnier.
Agreed.
And it would have a lot more it would give us a lot more of a good release after that big fight. And anyway,
calm down, little humor.
Yeah, a little bit of humor.
They can pick it up again.
Now we can start getting into the mystery and introducing all the mysterious elements and Izzy's weird chat room for Digimon that they can somehow get into through any screen ever.
Weird.
It's like, if you can do that, why can't you get to the Digimon world? There's your question for the night.
Oh, here's another one.
If you can get to your network, why can't you get to the digital world?
And also, they do mention that Jenna, they call him Jenna, it's actually Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh,
they said Jedi.
Yeah.
They didn't say Gemma, they said Jedi.
Oh, it's Jedi, okay. I heard something before, and it was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. But apparently, Jedi is in cahoots with these guys and feeding them information.
But at the same time, he didn't feed them all the information, and they can't get in contact with him. That he only feeds information when he wants to. Which is
exactly.
Perfect old style guru.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The shady government organization needs to be working just a little more closely with the Digidestined is all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the thing, the shady government organization, even if they've got some stuff to hide involved with Alphamon and whatever the main villain of this thing's going to be, they kind of need to let the Digidestined get their pants out of their pants out of the fire. You know what I mean?
Right.
They need to be working with them. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we might learn more in part 2. Maybe not.
We'll find out. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our review. So we need to rate this thing.
Yeah.
I'm giving it an 8. This is setting up a lot of good stuff going forward.
Agreed.
But by itself, it does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But there, like I said, I got those little bit of issues. And if stuff fixes, my overall rating, I'm assuming at the end of this, we are going to give an overall rating for all 6 movies.
Right.
We haven't talked about that. I'm just bringing it up now.
Good idea.
I'm assuming this might, where everything else, this might raise a little higher than 8.
Mm.
This is assuming they actually answer a lot of questions.
Hopefully.
You've got 6 movies to do it in, so why not? But yeah, I'm giving it an 8 because this is still just a fun action movie and it's setting up a lot of good stuff and a lot of good character development. And I am curious to see who Mako and Meikumon are.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I reflect that sentiment exactly. It's an 8. Great setup. Gives you great character development, great story. There again, there are some little things here and there we don't know about, like how the Digimon popped up, except Agumon, be like all these what we just talked about are dislikes. But overall, I really enjoyed it and extremely looking forward to what happens in the second episode, the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Next week, we are, of course, jumping into part 2, Determination.
Mm-hmm.
And our trivia for that episode is going to be, because Digimon Adventure Tri uses the original Japanese music, with the exception of Digimon Are Back Again, we get to hear an instrumental version in different spots of the soundtrack of the original Japanese Digimon theme song. What is the theme song's name? Don't answer.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my trivia question for next week.
All right.
Do we have anything else?
Just for those of you who know, we are going to do a special review of Spider-Man No Way Home exclusively for our patrons.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get on top of that,
go onto our Patreon, sign up at the $10 level.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're going to release it. And
yeah, pretty much. If you
hear us geek out probably for at least half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
If not more.
Yeah. So if you want exclusive more content, go to the Patreon, go to the $10 level, and listen to us geek out about Spider-Man No Way Home.
And other than that, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame. Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast.
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.